Good morning, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Coffee, Yarn, and Dinosaurs podcast. My name is Ruth. I am the designer behind Ruth Brasch Designs and the yarn dyer behind Fearless Feet Fiber Company. I will have all of the information in the little information box below, and I will also try to have links to all of the things I talk about today, so you don't have to worry about reading off the screen. You can just click below. So, first of all, hooray, I'm still podcasting. If you are new here, it has been a while. I had 2 weeks of weekly podcast, and this has been maybe 2 weeks, but I'm really excited to be semi-regularly podcasting again. Yes! Whew. So, this might be a slightly rushed podcast because I have been spending all morning grading a sweater. I'm so excited. For those of you who don't know, grading a sweater or a dress or whatever is when you take the size, the sample size, you take a sweater for a design in a sample size, and then you create more sizes so they will proportionally fit larger and smaller sizes than the sample. So, I have been working on grading this. And if you have been watching the podcast for any length of time, this is not the first time you have seen this top. I was going to call it a sweater, but it's kind of a top, right? Short sleeve, we call short sleeve a top. It's very springy, very drapey and flowy. And I have been holding on to this top. I have had it mostly graded for almost a year now. And I basically just psyched myself out over it because I want to make sure, this is my first crocheted garment that I've ever put out, and I have never published a garment design before, sweater, dress, anything. And I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I wanted to make sure that this will fit you well. I don't want it to be just okay. I don't want it to have sloppy fit issues, that it fits some people and not other people, and ooh, maybe the smaller sizes or the larger sizes are a little bit wonky, but the middle ones are okay. No, I don't want that. I want this to fit everybody. So, fit them well. So basically I psyched myself out about it. I got most of the grading done and I sent it to my tech editor and I got it back from my tech editor with some notes, but I don't know. So over the last 3 months, I have been taking a grading course by a couple of tech editors and it's really been fantastic. Part of the course has basically just been confirming to me that I know what I'm doing. And another half of the course has been instructions and tips and tricks and stuff like that. So I am now feeling very, very confident that I will be able to put out garment designs that actually fit people the way they're intended to, which is super duper exciting. And a really long rabbit trail way of saying that I've been grading that sweater all morning. It will hopefully be up for testing soon. I have I just have to tweak a couple of numbers, not tweak them, add them in. I have all of the numbers correct in my spreadsheet. I just have to enter them into the pattern. So I will hopefully have that back from my tech editor within a week-ish, and I'll be able to open up testing, and I'm so excited. Very, very excited. So obviously, finished object. Hello, I am wearing this sweater. Ta-da! Check this out. This is the sweater I have been test knitting for Chantal from Knititude. This is her My Beginner Raglan Light. And if you have heard of Knititude, you have probably seen the super bulky version of this. So this is worsted weight. I'm going to stand up. I podcast with the camera fairly close to me, so you might just see a shot of my stomach, and that's, whatever. It's a sweater. So, ooh, I'm going to have to stand up on the chair. Okay, look. Okay, there we go. Obviously my ends are not all woven in, but that was not intentional. not here's my butt, but here's my hip. So this is my belly button, that's my waist, and this is my hip bone. Okay, so it's a nice full-length sweater, and obviously I am not petite. I wear a large to extra large 42-inch bust, so I'm like right smack in the middle pretty much. I'm usually in the middle of a lot of pattern sizes. So I'm always happy to test for Chantal because I love that she tries to do very clear directions, and she also wants to make sure that the patterns fit, which is great. So this is Malabrigo Rios in the lettuce colorway. So overall, I'm very, very pleased with how the sweater fits. I have never actually knit a raglan sweater before. I've done set-in sleeves, I've done yokes, I've done drop shoulder, but for some reason I've never knit a raglan sweater before, even though it seems like that's what a lot of people start with. I did not. So I really like it overall. I'm very pleased with it. I'm gonna insert a photo because my my swatch was correct for once. I swatched for this sweater, and if you go back in the previous episode, you'll hear me talking a little bit more about swatching and back and forth and making sure you knit to the right swatch. But when I finished this sweater, I was a little bit nervous before I blocked it because let me tell you, this thing almost doubled in length, and the sleeves before I blocked them were up to here, okay? And I blocked the sleeves and got all that length. That's at least 3 or 4 inches in the sleeves and probably a good like 8 inches in the body that it grew. Plus the yoke. This is the underarm. This is my actual underarm. This is how it's supposed to fit, but it was up here before I blocked it. So it really did block out to specifications as it was supposed to, but I was a little bit nervous that it wouldn't. I actually still haven't even woven in my ends because I blocked the sweater without the ends woven in just in case I would need to unpick the cuffs or unpick the hem and add more length. So very, very happy with this, my beginner raglan, and it used less yarn than I expected. This was, I want to say maybe 4.5 balls of yarn, 4.5, which would be like 400, 450. And I was very surprised because in the past I have used way more yarn to knit a sweater, more like 6 skeins, like 600 grams. So I was very, very surprised, but I think it might have to do with the fact that it's a loose gauge. So even though there's garter stitch, it doesn't take as much yarn as you would expect it to. So yeah, positives, it fits really well. The only negative is like you have to be careful which bra you're wearing because I cannot wear a strapless bra. So I'm just going to wear a regular bra with it. So I need to make sure that, which I did not before the podcast, that I'm not wearing a red bra under a green sweater, right? Like just normal life stuff. So my beginner raglan light, this comes out the end of March, I believe, and I will link it down below. So yay. This is the only thing that I have finished, but I'm super duper proud of myself for having finished it, which sounds stupid if you don't know me, but I tend to start a lot of projects and not always finish them. They get frogged, they get in the long-term whip pile, but this one actually got finished, which is good because it's a test knit and you should finish test knits that you commit to, just, you know, for your information. But this one I'm really, really proud of because it's an adult size sweater, and I will put the actual amount of time in a little right here, how long it took me. But I think it took me maybe 4 weeks, which is not super duper long for a 42-inch garter stitch sweater. And while I was doing that, I have also been working on the Tunisian and regular crochet entrelac baby blanket. Let me get this all open and nice. Look how super cool this is turning out. I am so pleased with this. I am right at the spot where after this, I'm gonna have to add my second cake of yarn. So I'm gonna have to I am going to have to fiddle a little bit with where the cake starts. But, so, Lion Brand Ferris wheel. I am really, really pleased with this. This is about, I want to say about 10 inches tall right now. It's 40 inches wide. Let me back up. There we go. Look at that. I am shooting for a 40 by 40. This would also be really pretty as a cowl. Like if you just sewed up the back, this would be so pretty. It would just be so comfy and like, well, wearing a blanket, but because it is a blanket anyway. Details. I did not say this on the last podcast and I forgot to, but now I'm going to say it. This is a fusion of Tunisian crochet and regular crochet. So the squares are Tunisian entrelac and the chevrons are regular crochet. And the way that I have it, oh, I'm showing you the back of it. There we go. Look at that. Much better. Okay. What was I saying? Fusion. Yes, it's a fusion of Tunisian and regular crochet. So because of the way I've done it and because of the way entrelac works, you do not need a Tunisian crochet hook for this pattern. This is my design. I am planning on releasing it as a pattern. Now that this sweater is done, I get to work on this all the time and I'm stoked. A lot of baby blanket patterns I get tired of a little bit of the way through, but it's something about constantly switching between the squares and the zigzag and the colors constantly changing that it's just a really, what's the word? I don't want to say mind-catching because it's not difficult to pay attention to. It just keeps my attention. I'm interested. I want to see how it turns out looking. I'm enjoying the process of switching back and forth between the Tunisian and the regular crochet. It's just a very, very enjoyable project. This was started because I was getting frustrated with some of my other projects and I just wanted something enjoyable that I could work on that would be a gift for somebody else. And I am ridiculously pleased with it. Because somebody will ask, it is hanging out in my lovely lovely bag from Button Jar Studio. I will admit that when I looked at it at first, I hesitated over the price. Not because handmade isn't worth it, but just because I think I paid like 85 bucks for this bag, which is a lot, but it has really sturdy handles. This is the bag I was also keeping this sweater in. It's big enough for a blanket, it's big enough for a sweater, and it's just very sturdy. Has these nice deep interior pockets. So you can see I'm using two different hooks because Tunisian and regular, you know, you need different hook sizes in case you didn't know. You do. So I have scissors, I've got usually a little container of notions, hooks. It's just all around a very enjoyable, easy to grab bag. Button Jar Studio. What else am I working on? Oh, very quickly. I am currently working on, but still undecided about, the qualifying socks for Sock Madness. If you do not know, Sock Madness is a speed knitting competition that is Ravelry based, and it was originally created during the March Madness time with, you know, the basketball tournament with the brackets and all of that. So it is now a really big event, and it has grown into basically what you do is everybody knits the same pattern with the same starting time, and then you have to email in a link to a project page with certain pictures that prove that you have knit to the correct length, the correct size, all of that, and they judge the timing based on timestamps in the email. So right now, this is just the qualifying round. It's not timed. You have 2 weeks to make it. Well, okay, so it's not timed as in first, second, third place, whatever. You have 2 weeks to knit it. Everyone who finishes the full pair of socks in 2 weeks with the proofs will get sorted on to a qualifying or a competition team. If you finish one sock, you can be on the cheerleader team, which means you are not part of the speed competition, but you still get all the patterns. So I have not decided yet whether I'm going to actually compete or whether I'm just going to be on a cheerleader team. But this is a really, really cool sock pattern. It is called Wohin, and it is by Caoua Coffee on Ravelry. And it's this very cool, I guess it's not technically mosaic knitting because you don't slip the stitches, you go down and pick them up, but it looks like mosaic knitting. And then on the foot, you use a different technique where you drop the stitches down and then pick them back up. And it's just very, very cool. The whole point of this sock is that it's using two techniques that are visually similar, but you use a different skill. So yeah, I have been very slowly working on these because I really want to work on the baby blanket and I want to work on grading that top pattern. And so I'm just really not sure that I want to do speed knitting right now when I'm picking up momentum in my designing. I may just want to focus on designing and cheerlead or watch this process because this is very all-consuming and you have to spend a lot of time on it, and I don't know that I want to. I enjoy the competition, but I don't know that I want to devote this much of my knitting time for the next like 3 months to sock knitting. I'm just not sure. So the colorways I'm using for this are my hand-dyed yarn. This is the colorway called Why Not. It's very fun. It's a light, I don't know if you can see the light blue and pink. It's like pastel blue and pink, very, very light. Trying to cover my face so this will focus, with speckles, with green and pink and blue and all of that. And then the contrast is Night Sky, which is just this nice pretty navy color. I had other options that I was going to possibly pair with them, and you can, if you want to go look, you can go see on my Instagram page how I decided to pair these. I did the black and white photo contrast trick, so that's very fun. And just to give you a contrast from the $85 yarn bag, these are living in my I sewed myself a project bag. And it's a very, very simple bag. Just boxed corners, front, back, no interfacing at all, front, back, a little drawstring. And the bags for myself that I've made like this are really some of my favorite travel bags because I don't need the stiff interfacing. I actually want a bag like this with no interfacing that I can just like jam into my purse and take it with me. So that's that. In other news, I have gotten to do a little bit of yarn dyeing, and I just want to show you real quick some of the things I'm excited about. So number one, I did my first real gradient and I'm so excited. Look at this. So it goes from navy to this light kind of tealy aqua blue. And I'm so excited. I've been wanting to try gradients for a really long time. And this one is 100 grams. And then I tried a different technique and I made this one, and this one's 200 grams. And you can see the colors a little bit better on the back. This is a speckled gradient. So the color changes are, it's not like self-striping, but you can see that they're not fully saturated colors. This one is like a semi-solid or a tonal, and this one is speckled. So even the outsides are very tonal, very speckled. But I love them, and I am so excited to finally be able to dye gradients. So those are the first two. And then also, look at this bad boy. This is a 300 gram worsted weight mega skein. I really, really enjoy dyeing these big skeins of yarn. They just make me so happy that you could do like 300 grams. You could do an entire shawl, and the only end you would have to weave in would be the start and the end. 2 ends for an entire shawl. And you don't have to worry about color changes. Okay, so look, you see right here? You can see this line where the sleeve is darker than the body. That's because even though they're the same dye lot, they were dyed in the same pot, one is darker than the other, and that's normal. That's totally like to be expected with indie dyed yarn. Mega skein. So this one is called Triton, like from The Little Mermaid. It's called Triton. This is a 300 gram one on worsted weight. But I also dyed regular size skeins of it on Poleworth. I've been wanting to try Poleworth for a while for dyeing because I've used it for spinning, and I really, really like spinning Poleworth, but I wanted to try it for dyeing. So Poleworth is 75% merino, 25% Lincoln for sheep breeds. So basically what that means is it's not quite as soft as merino, but it is still definitely next to skin soft, but it's a little bit more durable, I guess might be the word. It has those Lincoln qualities to it of the longer, a little bit of longer staple length mixed in, so it's a little bit more hardy, which is awesome. I also did a 200-gram worsted mega skein. This is tropical fish. Wah, 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 wah. Tropical fish. I love it. This one is sold. This one is already going to a new home, but I want to dye more because holy cow, look how nice it came out. This one I actually almost kept for myself, and I put it in the shop and someone bought it. So it is going to, you know who you are. You know who you are. It is going to live with you. Be happy. I will dye more. And a new colorway, this is new. This is called City Lights, and I love it. It's like this unexpected, this is such an unexpected color combination, and this is a color that did not come out how I planned, and I'm so happy that it did not come out how I planned. So this is a 200-gram mega skein of sock yarn. Look at this, okay? So it's got that nice deep green with the pops of neon yellow. And you can see the pops of bright red inside the deep red and the orange. And it is just so cool looking. So this is City Lights, and I love it. This is my soft sock base. So this is my 75-25 superwash merino nylon. And last but not least, since we are talking about yarns that go into the same dye pot and come out different, these three are called Carnival Night or Carnival Lights. I can't remember. Carnival Lights or Carnival Night. I can't, one or the other. But look, these are so, like, this one has some more green in it. This one is really orangey. This one has lots of pink and purple in it. All three of these were in the same dye pot, but they each came out a little bit different. And that's because that's how dyeing works. So when you use or when you buy indie dyed yarn, a lot of people recommend that you alternate skeins, or you can just live wild and free and not alternate your skeins. And that's kind of just what happens. If you're okay with seeing a little bit of a line, which I am, these would have a more distinct separation than just this little line, but ta-da, and these are on Poleworth too, so I think that's it for right now. I'm gonna go back to my sweater grading, top grading, whatever. Hopefully the next time I see you, I will be able to tell you that that top is up in testing. You gotta dance with yarn, always dance with yarn. So have a wonderful day. Spring is coming. Daylight savings is coming. Go dance with some yarn and be happy. Thank you for joining me. Bye.